500 digital entries, 50 clay pieces from 45 artists, selected blind by 10 internationally renowned ceramic clay masters from across the globe. For the first time, South African ceramic excellence is celebrated with a new biennial awards exhibition. The South African Clay Awards.
In November 2023, the Rust-en-Vrede Gallery and Clay Museum was affiliated to the International Academy of Ceramics, and that prompted this exhibition. We needed something to celebrate that milestone, and the Clay Awards happened. My idea was to have a very tight curation, but instead of having the bias of one person curating or a gallery curating, is to get together an esteemed group of 10 international and national selectors that would ultimately decide on what pieces would go into this exhibition. We received an astounding 518 entries, and from each of the provinces of South Africa, which was much more than we expected. In the beginning of 2024, we launched quite a massive campaign to promote entry to the Clay Awards. And what we did is that we said there was no entry fee attached to this, so it was available to everybody and anyone that worked in clay. The selectors received all the entries, and what they were required to do was anonymously select 50 of the top pieces that they thought would be wonderful for this exhibition. The selection was done anonymously. None of the selectors knew who entered, and I think that was very important because that could establish that the work could really speak for itself, and there was no collaboration between the selectors. They just chose their 50 top pieces. There is definitely a surge in interest in South African ceramics all over the world today. And with the Clay Awards, what I think is very important is to establish the idea of South African ceramics as important, but to not have a particular viewpoint by opening it up to everybody in South Africa to enter and having an international panel to select. We've created something that I think is quite special in terms of ceramics. Working as an artist is quite difficult. Working with clay, I think, is even more difficult. So it's the acknowledgement of people working with clay, it's the acknowledgement of ceramics in the country, and the acknowledgement of ceramics on an international platform. That's what we've tried to create with the Clay Awards.
One of the 10 elite selectors is Eastern Cape-born Andile Dialvane. His ceramic works are inspired by his Xhosa culture and heritage and are widely exhibited in museums across the world, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York and the Vitra Design Museum in Germany.
You should have let me do that myself. I'm joking. I'm trying to make sure that you hear me. If anything, ceramics is such an old-age craft. I mean, from functional and practical ways to expression in terms of as a medium for expression as an artist or so on. And it's a very important one that it needs to be celebrated. It needs to be documented.
I think it it was difficult because there were so many entries, over 500 entries, and I was surprised by the amount of entries, sort of more blown away by it.
Another selector of the SA Clay Awards is Olivia Barrell, a South African art historian who graduated cum laude from Paris's prestigious National Institute of Art History for her postgraduate degrees. Amongst her many accomplishments, Barrell published a comprehensive book, Clay Forms, dedicated to contemporary clay from South Africa.
For me, when I judge the works, I think it's a combination between technical ability, the ability to work with clay in a way that sort of transcends normal expression and goes into a signature style.
And so the task for us was really to look at the best of, at these things and objects that speaks to us, that do justice to the craft itself. But more so also, I'm looking at different traditions to have different representation of all different cultures and from different places as well. So someone from Khayelitsha to someone from, Constantia to, the Eastern Cape or KZN.
Clay is a medium that is very difficult to work with and very difficult to master. So it takes many artists most of their adult lives to be able to work with clay to such an extent that they can start to create these sort of sculptural expressions. So that was something I look for, are artists that have been almost in a lifetime relationship with clay, and it really just transcends that next level.
South Africa, we are definitely on the same level as anywhere else where ceramics or pottery or art is being practiced for and exposed in the world. So one should not want to be anywhere else but just continue to practice and express and share where we're coming from.
Many people have asked me whether South African contemporary ceramics has a signature style that can be identified. But I would say that this is not true, and that South African ceramics, if it has any sort of overlying signature, it would be its diversity.
We are very excited and proud to present this curated selection of clay works to you today.
To work in ceramics, I think, is a privilege. To have curated this exhibition has also been a real privilege for me, handling the work and seeing what people have done. And I think what is really important to know when you look at this exhibition, it's only a slice of ceramics in South Africa today, that there's much more out there. And I think that holds very well for the future of the South African Clay Awards.
There is so much talent in South Africa in relation to the ceramic arts, and not enough international recognition of it, not even enough local recognition of it.
We have so much to tell. We've got beautiful humor, we've got all the resources that we have.
It's very important to have an exhibition that also educates not only the public, but also other artists working in ceramics.
Udongwe lubaluleke kakhulu ngoba xa ubumba udongwe or uxhonxa udongwe unxulumana nabantu abaphantsi imbali yakho yentsusa yemveli.
I hope that the Clay Awards will showcase some of the wealth of the ceramic arts found in South Africa to an international scene.
The Clay Awards was ultimately to celebrate ceramics, and I think this exhibition does exactly that.
My hope for the Clay Awards is really that it impacts the contemporary South African art scene to showcase that clay is very much a material that should exist within our national contemporary artistic expression.
It is the most basic of all materials. So a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old can work with ceramics, and a very elderly person can work with ceramics. It's really something that I think we forget, we engage with every day.
Zonke ezi zinto zibunjiweyo zinembali eziyishicileleyo khona ukuze isizukulwana esizayo sikwazi ukufunda kuso imbali ekwakusenzeka ntoni ngethuba elithile.
Ceramics is big in South Africa, and there's a lot of really brilliant work, and it's wonderful to see some of that work and have curated some of that work at the Clay Awards.
The SA Clay Awards is an exciting platform, bringing art lovers a wide variety of diverse ceramic excellence from African soil, hand-picked with expertise by 10 internationally renowned ceramic clay masters, a definite new highlight on the international ceramic stage.